stand, remove your hats, and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the singing of the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's ceremony and thank you for attending. I'm honored to be speaking with you today on such an important occasion. We're here today to honor our service members and to remember the sacrifices they have made and the courage it takes to defend honor, duty, and our country. The writer Michael de Montaigne once said, "Valor is stability, not of legs and arms, but of courage and the soul." We're here today to honor our heroes, to remember their achievements, courage, and dedication, and to say thank you for their sacrifices. Thinking of the heroes who join us in this group today, and those who are here only in spirit, a person can't help but feel awed by the enormity of what we encounter. We stand in the midst of patriots and a family of friends who those who have nobly served. I'm pleased to present our speaker for today's program, Sergeant First Class Brent Williams, who was with the Army for just over 20 years. Please help him in welcoming him.
Good morning, everybody. I want to start off by thanking Mr. Wilson, Canton-Galva High School faculty and staff, you, the students of CGHS and MS, and our great community, and most importantly, our veterans currently in attendance. Please join me in a round of applause to recognize them. I want to offer a special thank you to the CGHS National Honor Society and my niece, Ronald Schmidt, for putting them in contact with me. Thank you for inviting me here today. It is humbling to be able to be asked to come here and speak. I am truly honored to be in your presence and to help celebrate Veterans Day with you amongst family and friends. My name is Sergeant First Class Brent Williams. I was born and raised right here in Canton. I'm sure there's some familiar faces out here today that I haven't had the pleasure of seeing just yet, but I will. I graduated Canton-Galva High School in 1999, and 2 short months later, I was headed off to basic training and advanced individualized training. I trained in Fort Leonard, Missouri, at the ripe old age of 17. Never thought that I'd be standing here once again, just a little over 20 years later, still wearing this uniform. But I wouldn't change where my journey has taken me so far. I've had the pleasure of traveling to 39 different states, 15 different countries around the world. I've served in the cold of Fort Drum, New York, twice. The heat and humidity of Fort Stewart, Georgia. Been selected as a member of the prestigious unit known as the Old Guard in Washington, D.C. To the mountains of Fort Carson, Colorado, and South Korea twice. And I'm currently stationed a few hours north here at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. Before I tell you a little bit more about my career and some of my experiences, I want to talk a little bit about Veterans Day itself. Veterans Day originated as Armistice Day on November 11, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for an annual observance, and November 11th became a national holiday beginning in 1938. Unlike Memorial Day, Veterans Day pays tribute to all American veterans, living or dead. It especially gives thanks to living veterans who served the country honorably during war or peacetime. Not all veterans have served in combat, but that does not minimize their service or the impact that they have made on so many people, myself included. They paved the way for generations, and yours and we are forever in your debt. Military men and women who serve and protect the U.S. come from all walks of life. They are parents, children, grandparents, friends, neighbors, and co-workers. And they're an important part of our community. Here are some small facts about the veteran population of the United States. 18.2 million people, living veterans, served at least in one war. 9% of those veterans are women. 2 million veterans served during the Korean War. 7 million veterans served during the Vietnam War. 3 million veterans have served in support of the war on terrorism. Now, I mentioned how they are important members of our community. We have them right here in our small little town. American Legion Post 192 spends countless hours volunteering to support not just our community, but they are constantly supporting our servicemen and women along with their families. Most of those involved with the American Legion do not ask for or look for accolades for the services that they provide. But I think that we should take a moment to thank them as they are with us today, once again helping us celebrate this Veterans Day program. So please give them a round of applause as well. Shortly after I enlisted, we experienced as a nation the tragedies of September 11, 2001. 4 months later, I was landing on an airfield in Bagram, Afghanistan. Over the next 9 months, I would encounter some of the most luxurious accommodations that you can imagine. Has anybody ever had to sleep on a cot? In a tent, without air conditioning, in about 120-degree weather? During the day, because you had stuff that evening, I would not recommend it. But learning to do that while my brothers and sisters in arms would be clearing minefields not too far from us. Learning that you can actually sleep through the constant explosions from not just those minefields, but the attacks that were occurring in the adjacent mountains. And when they get a little too close for comfort, learning that you can get dressed, equipped, armed, and moving in under a minute. While in Afghanistan, we were tasked with route security through the villages and mountains in and around Bagram, conducting joint patrols with the British military, area security in the heart of Kabul, and oversight and security of some of the most notorious terrorists in the region. Following my deployment to Afghanistan, I returned back to New York, unaware that in just 6 months, I'd be back on the planes our unit was headed to wait in preparation for the invasion of Iraq. My unit was the first military police company to cross into Iraq on the second night of the assault. As we crossed, we would eventually drive the majority of the length of Iraq in a matter of a couple weeks, providing security for our forces as they moved in and around the valley, and also setting up our base of operations in the northern city of Mosul. This would be my home for the next year. Once again, area security and detainee operations were some of our primary missions. But we were also charged with spending a lot of time in the city as we were working to reestablish a police force. There were a lot of great moments when we interacted with the community, especially the children, who truly wanted and appreciated our presence in their neighborhoods. Many locals would greet us with open arms. It's not the stuff that you see on the media. Sometimes they would bring us their traditional food during mealtimes. However, as portrayed in a lot of the media, there's that small percentage of the population that don't want it to do harm to us. After my deployment in Iraq, I was able to have a little time back in the States before we time to head back over to the Middle East again. In 2005, I deployed back to Missoula, Iraq. This would prove to be a very challenging time for myself and my unit. We encountered a high number with increased intensity and frequency of attacks not only on our base, but actually on us as we moved in and around cities. On September 19, 2006, my platoon lost our platoon leader, First Lieutenant Ashley Anderson, as she was killed in action when a suicide vehicle-borne improvised explosive device, also known as a car, intercepted her convoy from an alleyway that merged onto the route that they were traveling. Now, this unfortunate incident challenged us mentally more than we had been challenged before. However, as a soldier, we understood that we had a mission to accomplish. And we had to move forward. And some forced to work in capacities of greater responsibilities due to the loss of one partner. It was our training, understanding of our mission, our resiliency, and determination that enabled us to continue to move on, and that we did. Less than a month later, while conducting police transition team operations at the Al Somar Iraqi police station, a vehicle entered the walls of the station and parked close to the front door and detonated. I was inside that station when the car bomb went off. We immediately began to receive small arms fire, machine gun fire, and sniper fire. As I was thrown across the room that I was in, while the walls were already crumbling, bullets tore through the windows and the walls just feet above my head. My squad and I regrouped, immediately set up positions to turn fire, and I had to coordinate with their support as quickly as possible. My handheld radio only had the range to reach back to our trucks that were outside, not to our higher headquarters. So while the firefight ensued, both inside and outside of the station, I was able to make it outside the building, across the parking lot. I made it to my truck, and I was able to call in close air support and quick reaction force in order to increase our lethality and chances of survival. And as a senior U.S. Army leader on the ground at that time, I had to ensure the safety and well-being of my soldiers. I had to coordinate efforts and return fire with precision and accuracy, and try to eliminate the threat to us as quickly as possible. Members of my squad did receive injuries, but in the end, that was just a close call. So after 3 combat tours, I was starting to feel like I had had enough. I was tired of constantly being gone and being in combat. The stresses of war were starting to wear on me just a little bit. I had to rely on members of my unit, my family, my community, and my 1-year-old little boy who was at home. Now, of course, that's what I did. I refocused and I committed myself to a career instead of just calling it quits. And I think that was probably the smartest decision that I had ever made. In 2008, it was time to head back over. I wasn't done yet. This time my unit was going to Baghdad, Iraq. We would be taking over one of the most active, volatile, and overall dangerous forward operating bases that the region knew. Barbaros Maya was known to receive more attacks than any other installation in the country. And it proved to be very accurate. On almost a daily basis, we were receiving incoming mortar fire, rocket grenades, or RPGs, small arms fire, heavy machine gun fire, and sniper fire. It was again a very stressful time, but we were fortunate to be able to come away unscathed. Now, a little over halfway through this deployment, I was selected to be part of a team to travel to the southern city of Basra, Iraq, to relieve the British forces and establish a U.S. presence. Once again, the region was unstable. The British had built concrete bunkers as beds for us to sleep in. With only a small mattress, to use a small mattress pad to use as a cushion, it was very comfortable. But it protected us. And this would be my last combat deployment, at least so far. All in all, I've been struck by 14 improvised explosive devices, IEDs, 3 BBITs, the car bombs, countless mortar, small arms, machine gun, and sniper fire. Because I'm sure it's going to come up, I'll tell you a little bit about it. I earned the Bronze Star Medal. I earned the Purple Heart, the Meritorious Service Medal, 8 Army Commendation Medals, and 3 Army Achievement Medals, campaign medals for service in Afghanistan and Iraq, and the numerous other awards and decorations. I was even able to be selected for and graduate from the United States Army Sobolowski Airsoft School during one of my Iraq deployments. Now, only 2 iterations of this was taught before it had closed down due to the amount of activity that was still in the area. Trying to rappel out of a Black Hawk helicopter at approximately 150 feet above the ground while there's an active threat of being shot at without protective equipment, it's kind of unsettling. So I've been awarded the Combat Action Badge also due to receiving and return viral leaving me. Okay, so now I'll discuss with you some of my experiences. There's a lot more to military service than just combat. Every single day, servicemen and women are getting out to the communities that they live in, that they work in, and they're trying to help make it a better place to live for everybody. We have service members who are moms and dads who coach their children to Little League sports teams. We have service members who are actively involved in their church, actively involved in charities that benefit so many people and families across the country. We have programs that allow service members to chase the dreams that they either had prior to or that they developed during their time in service. We have transition programs that enable service members like me who will be retiring in a few short years to get back into civilian life and still continue to be contributing members of society. It really is an amazing life and an amazing profession. It does have struggles, and there are times of uncertainty. But not as much right now as it has been over the past 18 years of attrition warfare. I served during a tough time in our nation's history, and that comes with the scars that we'll live on. But as these deployments came to or come to an end, many of us will notice a change in who we were, how we interacted with people, even in our own hometowns sometimes. Some decide not to visit their hometowns because they are not sure how they will be received or if hope will be well understood. I admit that I had these moments like this as well. I haven't been back here as often as maybe I would have liked to have been. Even with the warm receptions on a few occasions where the town has even put up the American flags along Main Street and signs downtown to welcome me home. But I think with me getting a little bit older now, the grays are starting to come in, and some years since my last deployments, those feelings have settled more, and they're continuing to do so. And it's nice to be able to come back home without that worry hanging over my head. And to be completely honest, being invited here today has helped calm that tremendously, so thank you again. I've even had the chance to take in a couple of our football games here in the last few weeks. So I'm keeping it up with you guys up in Kansas City, and just know I'm rooting for you. I had to put that out there. Probably should have put that out front. But I'm proud to have served with some of the finest men and women that this country has to offer. And I'm proud to be from our small little town of Canton. Understanding where we come from, the history of our service, and our country is very important to all of us. And we continue to look to the veterans of our past, our predecessors. For we know that what we stand on very, very broad shoulders. And I come from a line of service members as well. I've got great-grandparents, got uncles, my mother, and my brother, who have all served at one point or another. My mom served as a medic during the Vietnam era. I have an uncle who worked with the Special Forces. My brother served in the prestigious 1st Ranger Battalion for the majority of his career. So I understand the meaning of carrying that torch and being part of something bigger than myself. Now, I briefly mentioned one of my assignments earlier. I mentioned that I was a member of the Gold Guard. And for those of you who might not know what that is, it is the Army's premier ceremonial unit and official escort to the President of the United States. Most of what we do and most of what we are known for are the events that happen in Arlington National Cemetery, there in Washington, D.C. And one of those events that we host, is the National Veterans Day observance. The media coverage is primarily when the president is in attendance, but there's a lot of hard work that goes on behind the scenes and prior to the event. One of these is called Flags In. Following a typical duty day, the entire old guard will report to the old chapel gate in preparation for one of the most honorable tasks that we have. We would fill our salt packs, our rucksacks, with flags, and be assigned sections that we would meticulously place an American flag at 8 inches from the center of the headstone for every gravesite on those hot grounds, for 400,000 in total. Rain, snow, sunshine, and darkness would not hinder our efforts as we knew the important task that we had. And honoring our veterans the right way, in a dignified fashion, is how we look at it. For former presidents, I will honor recipients. The people that we knew and served with have received the exact same treatment as the next. It is a tremendous opportunity for me, one that I'm happy to share with all of you. But today on Veterans Day, there's no place I'd rather be than right here with you all, and particularly with veterans here representing veterans all over our great land. Some young, and some not quite so young. But on Veterans Day, we honor every man and woman who's ever worn the uniform of our nation, those who've selflessly secured America's promise throughout our history. That same history teaches us that security doesn't just happen. It demands effort, sacrifice, courage, and commitment. It requires generations of men and women willing to go to distant lands. As the Korean War Memorial of Washington says, defend countries they never knew and a people who they never met. Today we salute the service of all veterans. We keep in our thoughts and our prayers the fallen, the missing, and those who are now serving in harm's way. We also remember that honoring those who serve isn't just about what we say here today. It's about how we honor our veterans every day. It's remaining committed to supporting them and their families in any way we possibly can. It's about serving them as well as they serve and continue to serve our nation. That's a sacred trust between America and all who defend its ideals. It's a trust that's been forged by soldiers and airmen who liberated Europe, sailors who liberated the Pacific. It's a trust embodied by Marines who etched the legacy of Iwo Jima and Coast Guard who stood watch over our shores. It's a trust extolled by the 8th Army, honored by the very memorial that I mentioned moments ago, who drove enemy forces back above the 38th parallel and still stand ready to fight tonight, today. The man who led them, General Matthew Ridgway, once said, "Never have we had a greater challenge or a finer opportunity to show ourselves and our people at their very best, to do honor to the profession of arms and to those brave men who bred us." Now, I'd submit that that's the greatest message for any Veterans Day. And on this Veterans Day, I can assure you that that spirit resides in the thousands of men and women who carry the torch today. Those veterans here today, please share your story. Share it with others. Let people know what you've done so that they can see the many faces of military service and appreciate the personal service and sacrifice of their neighbors. If you're not a veteran, find someone in your life that is a veteran. Ask them about their service. They do want to talk. Or simply just say thank you. The more we talk about what we do and impact that military service has had on our lives, the better able we are to hold it up as an example of excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great honor to be here with you today. Thank you very much for having me.
We will now present the military personnel by their branches. If you are currently serving or have served in this branch, please stand to be recognized. I'd like to ask the service members and veterans of the Army who are here to stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty.
I'd like to ask the service members and veterans of the Air Force who are here to stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty.
I'd like to ask the service members and veterans of the Navy who are here to stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty.
I'd like to ask service members and veterans of the Marines who are here to stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty.
I'd like to ask the service members and veterans of the National Guard who are here to stand. Thank you for answering the call to duty. I'd also like to ask the service members and veterans of the Coast Guard who are here to stand. Thank you all for answering the call to duty. You all have made our armed forces the most respected in the world. Our band will now play the Armed Forces Salute. While they play, we will play the slideshow honoring the family members of our students and staff who have served. We know you have lived through difficult times and often taken the heavy load to keep the homes fire burning. Thank you to what you've done. We will now go through the ceremonial flag folding demonstrated by Jay Nightingale and Tim Colgan. Each fold of the flag has a special meaning. The first fold of our flag is a symbol of life. The second fold is a symbol of our belief in eternal life. The third fold is made in honor and remembrance of the veterans departing our ranks who have given a portion of his or her life for the defenses of our country to obtain peace throughout the world. The fourth fold represents our weaker nature. As American citizens trusting in God, it is to Him we turn in times of peace as well as in times of war for His divine guidance. The fifth fold is a tribute to our country, for in the words of Stephen Decatur, our country, in dealing with other countries, may she always be right, but it is still our country, right or wrong. The sixth fold is for where our hearts lie. It is with our heart that we pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The seventh fold is a tribute to our armed forces, for it is to the armed forces that we protect our country and our flag against all enemies, whether they be found within or outside the boundaries of our republic. The eighth fold is a tribute to the one who entered into the valley of the shadow of death, that we might see the light of day, and to honor our mother for whom it flies on Mother's Day. The ninth fold is a tribute to womanhood, for it has been through their faith, love, loyalty, and devotion that the character of the men and women who have made this country great have been molded. The 10th fold is a tribute to the Father, for He too has given His sons and daughters for the defense of our country since he or she was born. The 11th fold, in the eyes of Hebrew citizens, represents the lower portion of the seal of the King of David and King Solomon, and glorifies in their eyes the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The 12th fold, in the eyes of a Christian citizen, represents an emblem of eternity and glorifies in their eyes God the Father, the Son, and Holy Ghost. When the flag is completely folded, the stars are uppermost, reminding us of our national motto, "In God We Trust." After the flag is completely folded and tucked in, it has the appearance of a ripped hat, ever reminding us of the soldiers who served under General George Washington and sailors and Marines who served under Captain John Paul Jones and were followed by their comrades and shipmates in the United States Armed Forces, preserving us for the rights and privileges and freedoms we enjoy today. Join me in a moment of silence during the playing of taps.
The service members we honor today came from all walks of life, but they shared several fundamental qualities. They possessed courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty and integrity, all the qualities needed to serve a cause larger than oneself. Many of them did not ask to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields. Many did not even volunteer. They did not go to war because they loved fighting. They were called to be part of something bigger than themselves. They were ordinary people who responded in extraordinary ways in extreme times. They rose to the nation's call because they wanted to protect a nation which has given them and us so much. Since the first shots of Lexington and Concord Since the first shots at Lexington and Concord were fired and the Revolutionary War began, American men and women have been answering the nation's call to duty. Millions of Americans have fought and died on battlefields here and abroad to defend our freedoms and way of life. Today, our troops continue to make the ultimate sacrifices, and even as we lose troops, more Americans step forward to say, "I am ready to serve." The following in the footsteps of the generations of fine Americans. Your presence here today is a tribute to those lost troops and their families. It is a way to say, "We remember." From the soldiers who shivered and starved through the winter at Valley Forge, to the doughboys crouched in the muddy trenches of France, to the platoon who patrolled the hazy jungles of Vietnam, and the young man or woman patrolling the mountains of Afghanistan. We remember and honor them all. Thank you for attending today. God bless you and your families. God bless our troops, and God bless America.
I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank our staff and students for putting this on. Freedom's not free. If we want to take a little time to mill around and visit with the veterans that are here, that's great. We'll give you about 10 minutes and then we'll head back to class. Thanks again. Great job.